pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Madam Secretary, you want to have a roll call?
Roll call. Wayne?
Present.
Jeannie? Present. Bruce?
Present.
John?
John, here?
Here.
Okay, we're all present. If you look at the agenda here, we need a motion for its approval.
I would move to approve the agenda for October 2nd, 2019.
Will second that.
I do have a couple of additions, if you wouldn't mind. Under other business, we're going to talk about park rentals. And let's just call it 3rd Street Trail. And if that doesn't come up within Lorraine's, then I'll bring it up later. So.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
The board minutes are there from our August 7th meeting. Need a motion for approval. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, very good. In terms of number 5 in grants, the major grant that I wrote for the city to the Bush Foundation did not get funded. I have worked on a grant for the city for between the police department and Discovery School to upgrade, if you remember, the basketball area and soccer courts, and that's what they call it, a letter of inquiry, and then if we get approval to that stage, and then I ask for a full proposal. So we'll stay tuned on that one. Okay, number 6. Bill, you want to talk about the amphitheater?
Yeah, sorry about that. Obviously, if you haven't known, we did have a name picked for it. The Ledge is the name for the amphitheater. So right now we are working on trying to do some graphic arts and come up with a logo for it, so we can start more marketing out there. The project itself is moving as forward as fast as we can with the current weather conditions. That's put a little damper on it. So we're awaiting a new construction schedule to come to us towards the end of the week, so we'll see where that lies. But they'll be working up until they absolutely possibly can, till the end of the year. So hopefully a late fall. You'll know more by December meeting. We'll see where we're at. If you've been out there, all the concrete block work has been done on the site. The big was the stage, so we're waiting the metal for the roof. Should be pouring concrete on the stage floor here in the next week or so, and then working on concrete basically in the bowl area is the next one. Finishing off, start framing the building and the box office, I think, tomorrow. So we'll start to see some of those buildings come up. So at this point, that's probably about as much as I can give you where we're at. It is moving forward, so looking forward to that being done.
I think if you were there when they had the tour, the public had a very good response. Shows the interest in the community. Okay, number 7, the River Edge Ball Fields.
All right, with this, I just wanted to bring attention, they are done, but we did run into some issues on the fields. Babe Ruth's staff went out and looked at the 2 new fields and saw that some of the baselines weren't in the right spot, some of the grass lines weren't played out the right way. So the contractor's out there right now, has been working out there trying to correct all those minor details. I'm glad we found it now in the fall versus the spring, because we do want to start playing ball immediately in the spring. So to get that work done now and let it kind of sit and then it's easier to do it in the spring. One thing came up on the walkway. In the effort to try to save money and to put this in the second phase, there's grass going between the two fields on the north-south line, basically between those two fields. It's become a problem because it's supposed to be concrete, so they put grass in there and irrigated it for the time being because we didn't know when we're going to get there. It's actually too low, so it's causing a big problem with drainage out there, which when you get concrete in there, it's not going to be a problem. So we have got some out for quotes right now to see if we can have some concrete work done between those two fields this fall yet. So it's on the council's agenda for Monday night, depending on if I can get enough quotes for them to make a decision on. But other than that, everything else is done down there, what you'll see. So I know they're looking forward to getting on those fields and playing. So good progress.
Okay, turning to our good landscape coordinator who's kept the city looking pretty nice. And with all our volunteers, we need to give them credit too.
Well, I just wanted to show you a couple pictures of the boulder that was discussed last time around.
Okay, hang on a second here.
There you go. That's basically it. It has two holes drilled in that can be used both at the same time, or one or the other could be plugged. So. This is a sketch of how it would be set up. I don't, if you can see that.
Whoops, what
Not
happened?
sure what happened.
Okay.
So it's pretty simple. And, you know, there would be no pooling water and it would be recirculating. So wouldn't have any safety issues.
Where was this for again, Lorraine?
I was thinking it'd be very nice at the library garden. It's not a huge water feature, but it would be impressive in the library garden.
Toward the
It's
front
not
of-
big enough for
to-
something
toward-
like the rock garden.
Toward the front of the garden or at the back?
In the back,
In the back.
for the wildlife and butterflies and people, and maybe we can get some gurgling sounds out of it to kind of overcome some of the traffic noise. So,
Is that it for your pictures?
well, no, I have plenty of pictures. I'll be done with that one. And there's a nice picture, one of our volunteers out there at the flagpole garden. I can't expand that, I guess. And just the other day, BioLife, a business here in Waite Park, I guess they have another one over in St. Cloud, approached me about a month ago, Jeremy from over there, and said, we'd like to do a day of service for Waite Park this year. We have 40 volunteers.
Oh, my goodness.
And I said, oh, thank you, thank you. And so, of course, it was raining. And so the first hour, we were over at the 602 building, just getting that cleaned up and sweeping and cleaning and whatnot, cleaning up the hanging baskets. And then we moved to the rock garden. And we've long been wanting to put stairs in there. And it looks like this year we're going to
We'll
get the
talk about-
stairs in.
We'll talk about it a little bit.
So we're removing what BioLife volunteers are doing here is removing the gravel and weeding as we're going, getting those Siberian elms out of there and what have you. This is what it looked like. And they're very enthusiastic. We got the old irrigation pulled out. And cleaned it up a lot. About maybe a third of the gravel off of there, maybe a little more, but I can't really measure that. It's hard to see that from here, but it's pretty clean. That slope is really cleaned up at this point. And here's Dean hauling away some gravel. So it's taking shape again. We're going to put some mulch on it, hopefully tomorrow, and we'll just keep on going as time allows and manpower and woman power allow.
Okay.
I have more pictures if you want, but that was the highlight right now.
Well, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
And thank you for that recognition of the volunteers. I thought that was very nice what you did. Park updates.
I really don't have anything here. I realize 2 months seems like a long time, but it's a very short time. And I just realized driving here tonight that I forgot to do something this fall that we talked about doing was a neighborhood meeting at Lions Park. And obviously it didn't get done, so I apologize for that. Thinking it's probably going to be better suited we do that in the spring, I think. Or we can do something in the winter here. So it didn't get done, and I apologize to the board for not happening. So
Well, and I'll take, some of that heat off of you because my minutes were so very late getting to you.
That's okay.
But I did think an awful lot about it, and I know that Ken Schmidt, who used to be with the Parks Board, said that they had discussed a little bit with the council of getting together with the neighborhood from the Lions Park area to go over a couple of different things, so.
We can do something a little bit later.
Yep, I think
yeah,
so. I think
it's-
this winter, and if we send out, just put our thinking caps on what could we put there? What would you like to see there?
Right, and so I'll keep it on the list, short list here, and
It's a good winter project.
yeah, as if I need more. So, anyway, I apologize for that. Other than that, I don't have anything else specific in the parks. Any other park updates, unless you folks have anything out there? I will say that it's not a park, Willow Pond out there. It's an outlot. The city looks at it. It's not an official parkland, but I know the residents think of it that way, and so forth. We just can never find the time to deal with it out there, so we ended up working with their association and the city, and we have agreed to. We hired a landscaping company to go out there and kind of clean it all up and get it back to a baseline. And if you get a chance to go out there, it's really nice. Got it cleaned up again, and I think that's what we're going to do is end up just contracting with a contractor to be able to go out there and do that and keep that one up. Keeps everybody happy. They're not calling the city and saying, well, you need to cut this piece of grass or that. It just worked out a little bit better. So other than that, that's all I have for park updates, John.
Okay, moving on to number 10, dealing with the budget.
Yeah, and I apologize, and I don't have it with me. So you had to submit a budget, and for the park, all I did this year was, and I put in there, and I don't have them all listed out, and I can't tell you exactly what the dollar figures were, but my number one priority this year was capital expense was for new siding and a new roof for the Boy Scout building at Rivers Edge Park. Roughly about 125 to 150,000. But we're not sure. We threw a number out there, got a rough number. What we're going to do is it would get the Nova brick, what we put on the maintenance building down there, so it looks the same as the rest of the buildings in the park. It would have a standing seam roof like the rest of the park. We believe the windows are good, but we want to make sure that, we want to look at everything down there to see if that's where we want to go. So it's just the first shot across the bow for budgeting. It's nothing else. If it doesn't happen this year, at least the council's aware of that. It's a need. The rest of it is the rest of the buildings. I put down next would be all 3 buildings in Rivers Edge, or Community Park down here for new roofs. They all need new roofs on it. I think the rest of it's pretty decent yet. We can salvage what we need to with paint, but again, new roofs on all those buildings. And then the new concession, or the concession building at Rivers Edge Park, the original concession quad building. That roof needs to be replaced. It's over 20 years old. So I put that in, and then also all the dugouts at the original. So that's what I put in for roughly, I think, came to a couple $300-some thousand total once you put all that in there. So nothing else. I don't know what'll be available for the budget to go through this next year. But it's just letting the council know that we do have some building maintenance needs that we need to take care of with some of our facilities to get them back up. So that's all I put in for budget as far as anything. Other major stuff, I left it out, and we'll have to see where sales tax dollars and what money's left over, so we can finish off. The one thing I will tell you, and I forgot, and if you don't mind, John, I'll just go right into other business and
sure.
roll here with it, if that's all right. We are also, St. Joseph was also instrumental in applying for a grant to get basically rental bikes. I don't know if I brought that up at the last meeting. Okay, so they're apparently on their way here, or they're here, and they're getting put together. We've got the bike station, repair station that we got the grant for. I'm hoping to get the concrete poured down there yet this year and get all that stuff put in down at Rivers Edge Park. So
Is that where the bike station is? Is that where we're going to have
the bike rentals also. So,
Okay.
yep. So it'll all be kind of one-stop shop. It'll
Perfect.
be, it's right there along 10th Avenue, along our new trail that John got for us last year. So we put in. So that's going to be. I'm trying to find time for our guys to do that. We're busy trying to figure out how we're going to finish up the winterizing. So if it doesn't happen this year, it'll be early spring. But we'll be ready to go next spring. Next would be is every year we have to look at the rates for community park rental. And let's see here. So in 2019, we were charging $65 for residents and $150 for non-resident usage. And in 2019, we had 50 residents use it and 1 non-resident. 2018, we had 57 residents and 8 non-residents. So it dropped a little bit. And as far as for next year, there's 2 people that have already locked in for 2020. So when we set the rates, we're going to set it for 21 because they can rent it out a year in advance. So we've basically kept the rate the same since 2016. So, well, 2016 it was $65 and a non-resident was $235. In 2017 we kept the resident rate the same, but we dropped the non-resident down to $150 and have kept it there for the last 4 years. So I guess I'm looking for a recommendation from the park board. Do you want to keep the rates the same for 2021, or do you want to look at
Covering our expenses.
I can't tell you that right now, John. I don't think it ever covers all of it. But again, I think the council also looks at it as more of a
community
service.
service?
service to them too. So
Non-resident rentals, what types of things we're getting in that?
Graduations,
you're right, yeah. So say it's somebody that lives from another community that comes in here and wants to rent it. That's a pretty good deal for $150 for basically all day. You can, yeah. Mm-hmm.
you know what, and I know it's not exact, but do we know what St. Cloud charges? Because I'm guessing it's a little bit more than that.
I do not know.
Would it behoove us to find out what their numbers are?
We could, yeah. I can have them look into it and
A little bit of a comparison and let your staff go from there.
right. Well, what we should have, what I can do is, I can research that. I would probably take a motion tonight, and maybe something like this, is to, for you to set a rate, unless I see that the rates are a lot more
There's a-
expensive in other cities or cheaper or whatever. And then I can put out an email to you to have you do like your vote if
Online
you want
vote.
to change it. I just want to move something forward tonight,
No,
and
I
I
get that.
apologize for not probably doing that legwork. I should have probably
That's okay.
thought about that. But we want to have it at least there so that the council can move on it for the first part of
Did
December.
we increase it? I'm sorry, I was writing something. Did we increase it last year?
No,
Then we should this year.
we haven't increased it for 4 years.
And
And our numbers have actually went down even after we flatlined out, so if it's my recommendation, I would let it go for one more year.
okay,
That would be my recommendation to you, but that's, you guys make, it's your recommendation as she moves forward, so.
Makes sense to me until we do more research and what's going on in St. Cloud and what the rentals are.
even St. Joe is probably a more comparison, you know, as far as St. Joe versus St. Cloud for, you know, size of city and whatnot, but
Do we have a motion?
I would move to keep the rental rates the same through 2020,
21.
through 2021. I thought you were going to increase them in, you're going to increase them in 22?
that's where they would go. And if there was an increase, it would go to 2022.
No, what we're setting the rates for is 2021.
That's what
So next year, we'll set the rates for 2022, and we can look at, so what we probably do is maybe in your motion is to put this down and then ask staff to research for 2020.
22?
I would make a motion to keep the rental rates the same pending staff inquiries as to what neighboring
Okay.
communities charge.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We can do that. And then once I get that, I'll have staff do that research, and then they can get that to me, and I'll send it out to you guys. Okay, thank you. Lastly is I have also a couple pictures here. So as Lorraine was talking about with the rock garden at Rivers, or the Third Street Trail, we wanted to do steps. So this is an area that where was kind of a natural walkway, but it was too steep. Is the area where we're planning on putting steps. So I've got a guy working on that. He said that he can get them in there for less than $5,000, which then I can just go ahead and order, and I don't have to do 2 quotes. So we're gonna try to get those done yet this fall. What we're probably gonna end up doing here is probably have more of a fairly good-sized landing at the very top here. And then it'll be the number of steps, whatever, to get down. If, I don't know if my mouse, can you see my mouse? Yeah. So landing, we'll probably end it right about here, and then that'll be fine for this winter. And then we'll put more concrete in here as a walkway next fall, or next spring, so, yes. Yeah, we'll put rails on it for the spring. We're gonna just put some posts up there, and then we'll do the railing over the winter. Yep, metal railings, yep. So the other thing that was, talked about is this handicap trail, this handicap ramp off of here. And looking at it with our concrete contractor, the area over at where we're putting the steps does not really, well, you can put a ramp in there. He said it's gonna be extremely expensive because it's so steep, and your ramp would have to be so long to make it work. So we walked around the site, and this is actually where we're proposing to do that. So next spring, we'll do this here. We'll have to cut out this curb here, and then this ramp actually would go like this, right through here, down to the trail. So, we'll sign it appropriately and do whatever we need to do out there.
It would take those trashy elms out.
Why, these, these things here?
Asian elms,
Yeah, it's
Siberian
done.
elms.
So we're hoping to get that, well, we'll get the steps in for sure this year and then finish off any of the work that we need. And like Lorraine said, then they're gonna be doing some mulching in here, some regular
Oh,
mulch.
we'll be going to the west of that.
Right.
I'm not putting any mulch in there. It's all to the west.
Well, we're gonna have to do something here between, to fill that in, but we'll talk.
You're gonna put stairs.
Not, the stairs aren't taking the whole thing up.
Well, after they get the stairs in, we'll put whatever.
Right, right. So our plan is to put in a 6-foot wide stairway. It'll probably end up being 7-foot wide. Is what they pork, that way we can mount the rails on that. Because you put the rails too close to the edge, then it pops out, and so we don't want, so we're probably looking at a 7-foot wide with a 6-foot wide passage area, so.
There's plenty of room for whatever wide you want.
Yeah, and,
Yeah.
yeah, if we go any wider than that, then we're probably not gonna be able to afford to get it done this year, so.
Are you gonna put a slide down the side of one, on one side or the other? For those that need to take the fast route down.
So look for that to be done at this fall here.
Anything else?
Otherwise, I don't think I have anything else.
Anybody else have any other business? Okay, our next meeting is going to be on December 4th.
Too slow. I had a couple pictures here.
Okay.
And here is the naming of the quarry, Amphitheater. And I don't know if you can recognize who that is. Dun, dun, dun. We got it unveiled. It was difficult to unveil that.
Yes, it was.
But anyway, it was worth it. Look at that. Everybody's hanging out, enjoying the view. And we even had young people dancing in the streets. So I just thought I'd show those. Yep, that was nice. It's exciting.
And all supportive too.
Oh, and I like your water fountain out there. You said wait till you see that. Very impressive.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn the meeting.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.